Greetings, everybody out there today. As you can see, I'm wearing something a little bit different. I've shown it before, but this video is kind of a twofold focus. It was a request from a friend that I work with to do kind of a tool belt layout, tool belt setup, the stuff that I use for some of the projects that I work on. And it kind of ties into a little bit of a story, and I'll get to that here in a second. But first, please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, and please consider subscribing. It helps my channel out, doesn't cost a thing. There will be all kinds of content coming up, home DIY, some conversational pieces, some topics discussions that I think that maybe if you're here and if you like this type of material and content, you'll like the channel. So the way everything went, Friday night I went to a local big box store. I won't name any names because sometimes customer service can be lacking. Most times it's great, but yet again, I noticed there was a probably younger lady and her son that had a shopping cart full of tools. I mean, it wasn't absolutely overflowing, but they had a hammer, a pry bar, tape measure, tool belt, all kinds of stuff that was in there. Some things I was like, this kind of looks a little bit odd, but nevertheless, you can't necessarily look in someone's cart and judge them by what they have in their cart. But I was over, of course, doing, as you guys know what I do sometimes. I go to the store and I just stand there and look at the hammers, some of the tools that they offer, and I noticed that her son was there. They were comparing 2 or 3 different hammers, and she was looking around for help at the store, and there was nobody there. And she did something that not a lot of people do today. She asked a perfect stranger standing there, "Hey, do you have any experience with what a good hammer would be?" And to the best of my recollection, the story was that her son was helping her brother, which would be the boy's uncle, build a deck onto her house. And she was paying for the material. She alleged that she was having trouble finding a contractor that would come and fulfill her need of building a deck on her back porch. I think they were wanting to add on a hot tub or maybe a place to put a grill, get the grill out of the dirt. But nevertheless, she asked a question about which hammer do you think would be best for decking, and her son had picked out something that was kind of like what I said in my other hammer video. If you haven't watched it before, please watch it. It's a big, probably a 28 ounce S-wing, as I said earlier, waffle head or a milled face, something along the lines of this guy right here. And I remember when he picked it up, when he showed it to me, I picked it up and looked at it, and I saw that it was a 28 ounce. But of course, the newer ones have it stamped on the side. And I said, you can buy anything you want in this store here for your hammer, but I would highly advise against this. Number one, it had a milled face, and number two, swinging a 28 ounce hammer all day long gets old really, really quick. So, and yet again, I don't know the experience level of the uncle who was going to be doing this. They may have ended up using screws to construct their deck, which for the most part, I highly recommend. But I sat there and I told them, hey, you will need this, you may need this. They didn't have a chalk line, they didn't have a speed square. They had a pry bar, and I was kind of like, pry bars, you can get away without, depending on what your budget is, you can get by without having one. They're nice to have, but you can get by without having one. Okay, as I said earlier, today, in today's market, in today's job market, in today's labor market, It's kind of hard to find someone who is a contractor that will come and do the job that they say they will do, when they say they will do it, and also be professional and do a good job. So if you have to resort to, hey, I'm going to attempt to do this myself, you generally set the bar higher. Your standards are a little bit higher. I think you'll find, and you'll want to do things better than a lot of times if you pay a local contractor. Because like I said, labor is expensive and contractors are kind of hard to find right now. So in this case, where, hey, you're rounding up a few buddies for labor, or you are that buddy in this instance, and you want to try to undertake some construction tasks, these tools right here in front of you, the bags, the level, all these pieces, is a great start. Is a very good start. Some may say it may be a little overkill, but we'll go through that. This case in point, some people do not keep these in their tool belt. This is called a cat's paw. I bought this one here recently. I had one that was a little bit shorter than this, but I lost it. But like I said, these are like $9, $9 to $10. This is a Vaughan, and this is a great tool to use if a nail is buried. If you've sunk one in too far and can't get the nail puller side of the hammer around it, you can always take this and then take your hammer and go like this and hammer it in to dig to pull the nail out. And like I said, this is called a cat's paw. It's got two different ends to use depending on how dug in the nail is. This is a speed square. Excuse me. I have videos about speed squares. Like I said, this tool runs about $7 to $8 depending on where you go for it. It's an Empire. Looks like a 2990 is the model number. And this tool is great for marking straight lines, for making angles. This tool really has a bunch of different uses, and they're very affordable, and they're fairly prolific. You can find them at just about any hardware store. Nail sets, probably is where some people would say, hey, that's a little bit overkill. You don't need those. I carry them because you never know when you're going to need them, and when you need them, it's nice to have them. So nail sets are good for sinking nails. As you guys see in the very beginning of the video, you see me using those to sink trim on a doghouse build that I did a little while back. Tape measures. These things are, they're used a lot. They're used a whole lot, and they have a lot of uses. But one thing you want to make sure of, for a tape, for accurate, this guy here is kind of getting to the end of its life cycle. But this thing here needs to move freely. It's a little bit stiff. I might be able to put a little bit of oil on it to get it to move. But that really makes a big difference for the accuracy of your tape and consistency. Carpenter's pencils. These guys here are nice to have. Main thing, I know a lot of people are like, why are they a rectangle? Or are they a funny shape and size? They're like that so they don't roll, so they don't fall off whatever you're working on. But carry two of them because they will go dull on you, or you'll break one or lose one, something like that. But I generally carry three. This used to have a keel in the end of it, lumber crayon, and it broke off. So need to get that fixed or replaced. A torpedo level. Some people like them. Some people don't like them. Some people carry them. Some people don't. This has a magnetic piece on one side of it. I kind of like that. Truth being told, sometimes it'll get metal shavings on it, and you got to wipe that stuff off. But this is good. If you're wanting to make sure something's still level, you can set that bad boy down there and be like, yep, still good to go. I carry one. Some people may not. This is a chalk box, and this is red chalk, which, believe it or not, there are different colors of chalk, and they signify different things, and they do different things. For instance, red chalk, if you're using this, if you put that, and here's the Milwaukee part number, by the way. If you're using red chalk, it will not come off. It will be there for a very long time. This is a good quick box, a good quick easy way to make a straight line. A chisel. This is good if you had, and this is a good sharp chisel. I keep this one very sharp. But this is good to use if you have to make a mortise cut, anything like that, and you have to remove any kind of wood that's left there. You know, your chisel, you just literally chisel it out, plane it out, get it out of there. The utility knives, I carry two. The main reason is, you know, this is just a straight blade utility knife, as most people have to do with them to put them back in. You got to bump them up against something. That's a Bladesmith. I don't know exactly how long I've had that. I've had it for quite a few years. This one I think I've had longer. This is a Milwaukee Fastback, and it has a hawkbill blade in it. You can open a lot of stuff with a hawkbill blade, and I do prefer these over top of just carrying a fixed blade or a pocket knife, because when they're dull, you simply just pull the blade out. And this guy here is a little bit rusty, as you can tell. Pull the blade out, flip it over. Looks like I've already flipped this one time, so could be ready for a new blade. But always with those things, when you're putting in a blade, you know, try not to. It's a lot easier to push it against something than it is to grow back some skin. So be careful with them, because those blades are sharp. I set these down. I don't generally carry these. Some people may say I have it backwards, but I call these nippers. These are good for if you have a nail that's sunk in really, really bad. Let's say you've ripped the head off of it. You can take these and put them on there and squeeze the nail and then roll it to pull it out. So, you know, if it was something like right there, squeeze it, bite into the nail, and then roll it to pull it out. I have the same luck with a straight claw hammer, so I don't generally carry those all the time. But these guys here, these are new. The last set I had, I broke. I actually chipped a chunk out of it and took it back to my local box store where I bought it, and they replaced it. So didn't ask it the second question, didn't even bat an eye. They said, okay, these are lifetime warranty. This is a Channellock 369 model. I had the prior set I had for quite a while, but I noticed it had a chunk out of it, and I just said, hey, I'll take it in there and see, will they replace it? And they did. And this, like I said, this is my personal opinion. This would be a good all-around beginners DIY / hey, I'm going to try construction, I'm going to try carpentry, my first day on the job. Starting out with something like this, an Estwing E322S. Smooth face. I know some of the framers, carpenters out there may prefer the milled face, but I think you can do a lot more with this one. So, and yet again, this is a kind of on the upper end size of hammer. You can choke up on it. You can choke up on it a little bit if you want to, or go all the way to the end if you really want to go into full horsepower mode. Next thing is a level. You know, this is a 4-foot level. I'm going to do a video on levels here in a little bit. I've got a couple of them, but you know, explaining a little bit about the differences. A 4-foot level, you can do a lot of work with that. You can do a whole lot of work with that. You may not. I mean, you can tie it to a 2x4 and extend it on out to 8 foot if you're wanting to do a plate to plate and level or plumb a wall. But something like this, I think this is around $50 was what I paid for it. It's a good Made in America product. It's all in all, it's a good level. Now, some of you guys, especially if you're experienced in the trades, may look at my Franken bags here and be like, what in the world has he got going on here? So I'll just say this about bags. They're dynamic. They will probably change as you grow, as you age, as your body changes, and as your career changes. I prefer, and you know, these bags will handle a much wider belt, but I prefer this type of capture device. I really like it because you can get in and out. I guess they call that a rigger's belt, but you can get in and out of it very quickly, and I like that. Another thing is these bags are set up for a right-handed person. So this bag here and this side, for instance, if we were to load this up, I'd put my chalk box. Yep, put my pencil. Pencil's right there. Let me grab this one here. Put my pencils right here. Now the thing about these right here, the chisels, I mean, it's got a little slot here for a chisel in the bag. I kept the chisel has a protector that goes on the end of it, and I just buried it down there in the bag. Reason being, if you don't, you'll end up getting a new bag because the chisel will end up tearing up your bag. These guys go right here. Torpedo level there, and all that. Like I said, all these tools, all these hand tools, notice they're going on my right side. Let's see here. Guy right there. This guy right here. Tape measure right here. On my right side, and yet again, this is just preference. 99% of this stuff is preference. I'll talk about PPE here in a second. Now on the back side, you know, the black bags are actually DeWalt bags, and I think you can get those for around $100 at a big box store. I really like this hammer loop. It is a Occidental, and I've been wanting to get a set of Occidental bags, but I just haven't pulled the trigger. And yet again, this moves a little bit. It slides around a little bit. Doesn't really stay very still, but it's a good strong hammer loop. And I always have the hammer in the back. The reason being is on most of these bags, this is made out of leather. Now I use this to hang my impact driver or my nail gun from whenever I need it, because that will wear out if you're constantly putting a hammer in it. So this bag right here is a Klein 5179. It's a good all-around catch-all bag for generally what I put in it is my PPE, so gloves and eye protection. It's good to, I wear tinted eye protection because when I'm outside, it's nice to have sunglasses, something that's rated. Hey, you only get one set of eyes, so you want to protect them. Haven't had any trouble. I always make sure I wear them, no matter how small or seemingly light the task is. It's good to have them. And, you know, when I put my bag up, I have that stuff hiding in there. The Klein 5179 is the part number. This bag is good to have put extra nails in. If you're working on a job site and you have bent nails, anything like that, it's good practice to put stuff like that somewhere in your bag. Me, that kind of changes. Depends on what all I'm doing. Usually if I'm helping somebody frame, I'll put my 8 penny nails here. I'll put square goes there. Nail sets, they go in the front. That's where they ride. And then 8s go in this bag. 16s, since they're a bigger nail, go in this bag. And generally, if I have something like that, a nail that's broken or it's bent or it's not serviceable, not usable, I'll put that in this little pouch here, and that's kind of like my little garbage bag. And if I'm helping with decking, or if I have anything that requires screws or anything like that, that generally goes in this bag or pouch right here. And like I said, this is a little bit above a step of a DIYer, somebody who may be wanting to do this professionally. But yet again, these bags, stuff like this will change over your life, over your career, and it may change from day to day from the jobs that you do. For instance, if I was framing concrete, setting up getting ready for a pour, doing forms for concrete, I may not take all of this stuff at all. A lot of concrete guys that I know, they wear the front-facing bag where they have the hammers on the right side. It's not at their back. And all this stuff here is set up for a reason too. If you're doing framing, so you can turn sideways and fit through a 16-inch hole. But you do need a lot of tools when you're doing stuff like that. And if you're wanting to do drywall work, your bags may be set up differently. You may have less work or less tools. And if you're doing electrical work, you would have less tools yet again, or different tools. Plumbing, the job, the list goes yada on and on and on. So the good thing about this is, like I said, with this array of tools that I had laid out and that I have set here, you can do, when it comes to carpentry, construction, you could probably do 75 to 80% of the general labor tasks with just what was laid out here. Okay, so I've included a list, a itemized list of everything that I had in my tool belt, everything that I had laid out. And for today's prices, which is November of 2022, it was kind of staggering when I totaled it all up to see that it was around $380 if you include the 4-foot level. It's quite a bit of money. But yet again, these tools, this equipment will last you a long time. You can make a lot of memories and make a lot of projects go by a lot easier and fulfill a higher level of standard. If you have any questions about the list, and like I said, I've got it posted up here for you to take a look at if you have any questions about the list. And keep in mind with the prices, they're all rounded off to the nearest $10 mark, to make the math easier, number one. And number two, a price for a 22-ounce Estwing hammer may be different here than as opposed to on the West Coast in California or New England and up north. So please like, subscribe, comment. Like I said, I make these videos for people who are interested in stuff like this. If you have any content ideas, please don't hesitate to run those past me. I'll be glad to explore them. And, hope you have a great day. Today is, of course, election day. So get out there and vote, exercise your right. And it's a great thing to do. And until the next time, I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you accomplish some great projects. And as always, stay dry.